These are the entry requirements for A-level chemistry. We require a grade 7 at triple GCSE in chemistry, or if they do the combined double award GCSE, a grade 7/8. It is also important that alongside their science grade, they do have a grade 7 in maths as well. This is because compared to GCSE, there is a huge amount of maths embedded into all aspects of the specification at AS level and A level. A-level chemistry is a big step up from GCSE, and the course is extremely rigorous, especially since they changed the specification and updated their exams as of 2015. So it's really important that students have met these entry requirements in order to be successful on the course. The A-level chemistry course is split into 3 main sections: physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and organic chemistry. Physical chemistry are topics such as atomic structure, energetics, rate of reactions, and these do build on topics taught at GCSE and obviously move the topics further where students study them in more depth. Also in physical chemistry is stoichiometry, which is a mathematical unit. However, as well as just being in physical chemistry, it does come up in other units as well. And compared to GCSE, there is a lot of maths in chemistry at A level, which is why we do require the GCSE grade of a 7 in maths for the entry requirements. Inorganic chemistry are topics such as periodic trends, looking at individual group trends, and then organic chemistry is a much bigger unit compared to GCSE. In GCSE, it's a very small unit and only touches on a very small number of hydrocarbons. At A level, it is 1/3 of the spec, so it goes from being a very small, maybe 1/10 of GCSE, to being 1/3 of the A level specification. It is a huge unit and a huge part of this course, the organic chemistry does get particularly more in depth. So students will take part in regular practical activities throughout their lessons. Practical work is embedded into the scheme of work, into the course. So for example, when students are learning stoichiometry calculations, they might do that alongside a titration practical. When students are looking at organic chemistry, they might take part in esterification reactions practically. Again, that is to support their theoretical learning. Where there isn't available practicals for us to do, we often use online simulations, and it just supports the students with their theoretical work. There are 12 required practicals which are mandatory and set by the exam board. These are activities the students have to do before their exams. They are logged and tracked in school, and the students have to meet certain skills within those practicals to pass that practical activity. At least 15% of the marks awarded in exam papers will come from practical skills, and will assess them and their practical work. So this shows the final exam schedule for year 13. So this A-level course is a linear course. It is assessed at the end of year 13 using 3 exam papers. Each paper is 2 hours long. Paper 1 and paper 2 are worth 35% each of their final grade, and paper 3 is worth 30% of their final grade. Paper 1 assesses particular physical chemistry topics and then their inorganic chemistry units, and relevant practical skills will be present in the exam. So questions could come up there on their required practicals, or indeed other relevant skills linked to practical work. This paper is made up of short and long answer questions. Paper 2 is similar in the sense of it is the same amount of marks, same weighting and the same length, and again is made up of short and longer answer questions. The only difference is that this will assess the organic chemistry rather than the inorganic chemistry, but again it will assess some relevant physical chemistry units and relevant practical skills. Paper 3 is slightly more difficult because this time they can assess any content. So that's any content from paper 1 or paper 2. So the whole specification can be tested in paper 3. It also has a heavier weighting on practical skills and can assess any of those. This again is 2 hours, but it is only worth 90 marks and it's 30% of their final grade. 40 marks of the 90 will come from questions on practical techniques, and on data analysis. 20 marks of it will come from testing them on their content, on their knowledge, and then 30 marks of it come from multiple choice questions. These could be on practical skills or on their content. So this paper is different in the sense of it has different styles of questions because it includes short and long answer questions as well as multiple choice, and it has a bit more emphasis on practical skills. In terms of how the students are assessed internally, so throughout the course, throughout the 2 years, in Year 12 they will take part in half-termly assessments. So this is roughly every 7 to 8 weeks they will have an assessment on the content they have learnt. And this does build up and it's cumulative. So for example, what they learn from September to October half term will be their first assessment. Their second assessment would then be in December before the winter break, but that would assess everything from September, not just the one half term. Then their next assessment, which would be in February before the February half term break, would again assess everything from September to February. So they're building up so that we can check that students are revising prior content and not just sticking to revising what was on that half term. That's to make sure that assessments are cumulative and in line with how they will be assessed in the real exams, and also to ensure that the content isn't being forgotten and is consistently being revised throughout the year. In Year 12 they will have an end of year exam. This will be an end of year 12 mock exam, and this will be useful for predicted grades as well as their other assessments that they've done throughout the year for university predictions. In Year 13 they will continue to be assessed half-termly, and there will be a Year 13 mock exam which usually takes place in January, and this is really important to help them prepare for their final exams. So this will be in Year 13 a Paper 1, a Paper 2 and a Paper 3 mock exam. We take a variety of approaches to teaching and learning within the lessons. So there will be an inquiry-based focus where students might have to plan some of their own investigations, particularly around the required practicals, to ensure they are analysing and concluding. Again, that will serve them well for their practical assessment within their exam papers, looking at data and things like that from the practical work they've carried out in the lab. There will also be independent learning, so students will be required to learn independently in lessons using their devices, using their Caboodle textbook, for example. We might ask them to read a particular page and to use that to complete questions or to complete a research task, for example. Where we can't do practical work to support theoretical work, we do use online simulations. This just helps students with more abstract concepts and brings them to life a little bit. There will be lots of problem solving, lots of practice questions for them to try and solve, particularly with stoichiometry and the maths units. And we'll also embed lots of past exam questions into their learning, their revision, and it is expected they do these on a regular basis at home. These will be available via Teams. There is also research aspects of the lesson where students will have to, for example, research a method for a practical, or it might be researching a theoretical concept. And there will be some flipped aspects of learning as well, where students might have to, for example, watch an online tutorial or do some reading prior to the next lesson for homework.